Hello and welcome to an all-new Deep Cuts Live with Antoine Reid. Today we have a very special guest. This is kind of like one of our biggest guests, I would say, that we've had in a long time. No shame to anyone who's been on here before, but this is like one of those industry legends that when I'm able to book them for Deep Cuts, I'm always like, really? For real? Like, wow. So um, today we have with us Sandy Cobas from Ttian de Bronze. I think is how you said in another interview how you pronounce it correctly, because I know that there's lots of questions on how to pronounce that. But I want to welcome you to the show, Sandy, and I know you have someone with you. If you want to give her an introduction as well.
Yes, not only my daughter, but everything, my right hand, my assistant, my blender, my smoker, my bourbon drinker. She's
There we go.
She's everything to me. I have another daughter.
I don't have to introduce you.
It's
Giselle Herrera.
right? I said my daughter now. She's my daughter, Giselle Herrera. Which Herrera is
Here we go.
Wiley Herrera's wife.
She loves putting that in there.
Willie's wife, and she gets mad when I say, when everybody says, "Oh, that's Willie's wife." She goes, "Mom, I'm your daughter." I go, "I know. But she's great. She has a great palate, I guess. You know, she learned from the big guy. And
Where do you learn from me?
we learned from our new redemption friend.
And I have some questions. You were only supposed to introduce me.
Oh, yeah.
To take this woman.
Well, before we jump into all the nice cigar talk that I know you're ready and revved up for, I always have an icebreaker that's not cigar related, because just to kind of get to know the guest, especially since this is your first time on the show. So for you, I picked out the question: would you rather be always 10 minutes late or always 10 minutes early?
10 minutes early.
Liar.
She
wishes she would be early.
All right. 10 minutes. I tried and be early, but for some reason, all my life it's been late. Oh, God.
Well, thank you for answering that question. I was always wondering, because I know there's a lot of people, especially in this industry, that the cigar industry is definitely on its own time zone usually. So we don't always get things right on time, but we get there when we're supposed to. So
Well, I got you on time.
yeah, I know you did. You did.
Coming.
Well, like I said, this is your first time on the show. So usually what we want to do is kind of get to know you before we start talking about all the cigar stuff. So I was speaking to John on the last episode of Deep Cuts Live, and at the end we were kind of talking about you, all good things, don't worry. And he was saying like, oh, she has such an amazing story, and like he was telling me a little bit about what you did before the cigar industry, what you did a little bit after, after you made the move to the cigar industry. But what were you doing before you got into the cigar industry?
Very good industry, the liquor business. I should have had both the liquor and the cigars. They both go. But I was in the liquor business. I couldn't get cigars. And that's what the hell, I can't get them, so I'm going to make them. And that's what happened. I started making them myself. I had hired rollers, and the ball kept on going and going. But there's 30 years. There's 30 years. Oh, how we started.
They should have been in jail, actually.
Yeah, it was something. What happened was just so bad. So embarrassing. Okay, I went out and I looked because I had so many customers ask me, can you get cigars? We want cigars. That's when the boom just started. Cigar aficionados just came out and I used to get the wine stick theater and stuff. And then I went to Ernie, I went to, oh my God, Camacho, you name it. Everybody was out, no cigars. And Ernie's wife just gave me one box of cigars. And that was the only cigars we had. And I had this big display case and no cigars. So then I says, what the hell? I'm going to get me a Cuban roller and I'm going to make my own cigar. So I went out. It was at the Mayfair Hotel in Coconut Grove. I went to this store where they handmade Cuban cigars, walked in, and I see this Cuban old man rolling. I was like amazed. I go, oh my God, look at this guy with all these leaves making all this stuff. So then I asked him, can you make cigars for me? At that time, they were like $5. And then he says, no, we'll pay for that on weekends. I could go to where you have, because I told him I have the liquor store. He said, I'll go on weekends and make cigars for you. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I got so excited. I go, oh my God, I went out and did a table. I got everything. And then the customers, only one box, right? So I had this ATF agent, which was undercover for years. Every Friday he would come and buy wine, and I didn't know, he was an ATF agent. So I said to him, oh, I got cigars. I'm all excited. And
I'm making my own cigar. No,
I'm making my own cigar
actually,
now.
I'm so excited to share this new venture with the private, the undercover.
So he goes, Sandon. I said, aren't you happy? What happened? He goes, you can't do this. Well, she goes, I can't do this. Look, I have to get the license. You have to have it up. It's the my license is ATF, alcohol, tobacco, firearms. He goes, no, that's just for cigarettes. No, that's for cigarettes, for alcohol. I said, well, what the hell do you have tobacco? And he goes, because that's how we are ATF. I said, oh my God, now what I'm going to do, this is going to cost me my divorce. And it did cost me my divorce. Honestly, there's something got me cost me my divorce. And I said, now what? He said, don't worry, let me see what I could do. Plus, you're in a residential area.
And he said, whatever you can just stop making them for now.
Yeah, so I stopped making them. And then they all helped me. They were so sweet. They rented around their office. None of this email stuff. She went personally, talked to the girls, and they came and inspect, and everybody just loved me and I loved them, and it all worked out, and they gave me the light. And then I finished with 9 rollers in the warehouse because I couldn't put everybody in the front, so I had the liquor in the front with 1 roller, and I had 9 rollers in the warehouse making cigars. It was amazing. It was so, and the name was Ttian de Bronze, which is Cuban heritage cigars. Such a pretty name. I had the band done in TSO in Europe. I went all out. Cedar boxes, you name it. That's why it cost me the divorce, because everything I was paying top box for everybody, for everything. But it worked out good. Then after the divorce, I said, well, I'm keeping the cigar. You keep the liquor. I should have kept over liquor. I kept the cigars, and ever since, and then my dad and my mom always, I'm an only child, and they were helping me all the time, starting from scratch all over again. The customers we had there came over here, and then little by little we kept growing, and then I had Bacalina, which was my first big account with Maria Siena with the Goldie, and that really put us on the map.
You can stop her whenever.
Oh no, I'm like, this is like good. This is good stuff.
She just took over.
Yeah, that's how it all. It's such a pretty story, because from a mistake, you become successful from a dumb, stupid ATF. Yeah, how the thing, alcohol, tobacco, it's tobacco, it's no Sandy, cigarettes. I said, then why the hell don't you press the But he was sweet, and I even gave him the bottle for free of wine as long as he would help me. started growing. La Palina with the Goldie with Maria Fiega, and then Kyle, which is the sweetheart, he just got out of college, and then we started with him with La Comena. No, high school, get out of here. College, yeah, but he looks so young. Oh, I thought about a baby. Oh, no, no. Then it was Padilla, 1811. I would see Jewish State. And Jewish State. And General also is the big honcho too. So we came out with Willie, Jonathan wanted something from back home, like we're really roots were in Herrera, Miami. From the beginning, Willie was here helping out, just like Giselle. And then, of course, they went to the big boys. She's now with Jewish State particularly. Yeah, he wanted to ask you another question. How did we get it? No, you gave him a mouthful how we started. Well, it was all night. That wasn't the question.
Well, I know, like with the big boom, and usually in this industry, you hear it from the perspective of the manufacturers. You don't hear it from like the factory side of it. But what was that like? You know, going through the boom, and then when the boom started to kind of fizzle, like were you worried that, you know, what's this cigar thing going to turn into, or were you kind of confident that, you know, even though the boom was kind of not, you know, cigars weren't as popular, like they were going to continue to be popular?
I remember in 2008, I think when the global burst or something was going on, everything. I had more orders. You know, when when things go bad, people drink and smoke more. Just like with COVID, I says, "Oh my God, that's it, the hell with everything." And oh my goodness, we were so, it was crazy, unbelievable, unbelievable. And also when times are down, I guess people like to drink and smoke, and we're never down. We're always, you know, busy and doing. We have our own brand, and we make other people. And anyway, I love what we do. I enjoy. I have good vibes with what we do, and that's important. I like what you do. You know, it's 30 years here doing everything, and you have to like it. And I get always like it. People say to me, "You get so excited." I do.
Like for when I've visited the factories, you know, I've seen like how the factories work. I haven't visited your factory yet. I hope to do that soon.
You have
But
to try. Oh, from the golf
Yeah.
but when you go to the factories, I mean, you see women working. I mean, having a big role in the factories. And I know when I first got into the cigar industry as a graphic designer in 2010, the role of women was kind of like, I will say subdued. Like nobody wanted to tell that story. It was all about the men. Like, have you experienced that as well? Where it's like, you know, you see the story where all these women are doing these great things, and then like the men are the ones that are like, this is our industry, or like, how have you kind of seen it and experienced it?
But I so much of me. But you know, I don't feel like less than them or more than them. I just blend in with them for some reason. I get along. I never experienced a knockdown.
No.
Yeah, but we're there.
I know.
I don't care what anybody says.
Yes,
we're there.
But
I don't care.
It hasn't been easy. It hasn't been easy as a woman in this industry.
Of course, any woman in any industry that a man dominates, it's not easy, but it's up to you to make it easy.
They're like, "Oh, she's so nice, but you know, stay in your lane."
No. We've been very lucky. I've never been rejected or never been able to get good material. I don't know. I've been always very fortunate. Yeah, I could say lucky. Because some people would say to me, "Boy, I can't get it." Damn, I sure could. But no, it is. You're in a man's world. That's right. And us too. It's, but everybody likes it. So even when we went to Big Smoke or the PCA, everybody comes to us, kisses us, because we're so cute. Loves us. So I don't know. I know it's a man's world, and I like that. That it's a challenge. It's a challenge. I like challenge.
Yeah,
I like challenge.
it makes your achievements even more a little bit special when you can, go beyond the expectations.
Yeah.
So you mentioned some of the different brands that you all have worked with, like Warped and La Polina. So how did those accounts like come to you, and like do you just how did that happen? Because I know, like I said, these are brands that are like humongous brands, and like you have a part of that, and now you're working with like Cohiba and stuff. So how did these accounts like find you?
Well, the thing is, I don't knock on anybody's door. I never solicit anybody. You want to come to me, but that's the front door. You know who we are. We're always here. I don't have to give you free cigars. I don't have to do anything. You come through that door.
But how did Bill get here? How did Bill find out about Wait.
Bill, what happened was, I probably never met Bill, Gary Martin, which was a character with us we find, and he passed. He knew the police, the Haley family. So when we hired Maria Fiesta, her daughter came in on a Saturday, and asked me, mother was still in Cuba, it's her mom that was making cigars for 18 years, and it was going to be the first time coming to the United States to live with her because she was not a child, if we could give her a job. So we get a lot of, different people coming in asking for work with bowlers and stuff like that. Where did she work? She said, El Ladito, yeah. And I said, how long? 32 years. Like, damn, your mom's going to work right at that chair, right there. She's going to work there. And a month after she came, because El Ladito was where Castro, it was exclusive. Castro cigars were only made, and 30 young girls were picked to make cigars in this exclusive. It was a mansion. Delia Sanchez was Castro's right hand. She was a revolutionist, and she wanted females to come out of the house, not cook, not be in the kitchen, work. And all the young girls, lines and lines of girls, waited to get, to be picked.
Mm-hmm.
So she was one of the 30 young girls that were picked and worked 32 years, retired from there. And that's exclusive. Like, to work there, it's like the ultimate in Cuba. Cohiba, the brands that they have, Corona, Patagal, all those factories, good factories, but it wasn't like the Naida. Naida was exclusive for Castro, his entourage, his group of girls. Remember when Kennedy wanted to blow him up with a cigar? They had, their security was so tight, it was unbelievable. So, Gary walks, and she's excellent with the Lancero. And Gary walks, finds, oh, you got a new roller. And I said, oh, yeah. You can't believe it. She worked in the Ladito. They knew of the Ladito because you're a kid. It's how long? 32 years. You get top of the phone. I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm calling Bill Daly. I said, what the hell is Bill Daly? And then he goes, La Galena. And I said, that's nice. What are you calling him for? He's got to come down to meet this lady. You don't understand. And I said, and he's going to come in this little office. If he's this wealthy, his office must be beautiful, and you're going to bring him to this tight little place. Don't worry. So 2 weeks after, Bill came, super sweet, fell in love with us, fell in love with Maria, asked her to make 10,000 cigars. The lady took out here practically. And I asked her, and she said, yeah, because she rolled 100, 110 max, Sam Fisher. So I said, it's going to take time. So she did the 10,000, and in a flash, she didn't even sell them. You just gave them to different people. And he went for third. It was a Larito number 2 with the Estero 30 by 6 or 30. That's number 157, yeah. And he loved it. So he asked her if she could make 25,000. I said, oh my God, you're kidding, 25,000? This place will take forever for 25,000. He didn't care. He says, I don't care. We want it. So then, Courtney Smith was working with him at the time, and we were trying to come up with names, and then his grandmother was called Goldie. Samuel's wife, which was his grandmother, was called Goldie. So we decided Babe was his wife. Little Bill was Bill. Pasha was the dad. So then we decided to call it Goldie in honor of the females in the industry. And we made such a beautiful insert. I still have it. And Maria was 9 and it was a year. And the boxes were numbered. Well, when everybody found out Bill was in the media and there were so many people, cigar Ronaldo came, AB came, Reuters came, everybody and their mother came to interview her and take pictures and, the story of her. So that's why I tell you, she put us on the map.
Yeah, she paved our way.
She paved a beautiful, very humble. People would come from all over. They were flying in, going on a cruise or flying down. If they could sign, she could sign the cigars and she would sign the box for them. And Bill flew her to what's that place? Now?
The pretty lounge in New York City. They closed.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was over 100 years
It
old.
was a beautiful lounge.
And
not lounge, it was a store.
Yeah. And that shirt, but one of those iron, and people were, she said, she didn't know anybody. She said, oh my God, everybody here was up on this. Because they had second floor, they were all over me, and she was rolling. It was very special for her. And I was glad I was able to not only have her as an employee, but have her as a friend. And everybody loved her. And she taught 3 people. Because at first she didn't want to teach 3 people. Because what made the Ladito stand that a lot of people don't know is the fan. It has a fan, a little fan, not a big tail, because the cashier never used to cut her. This is a story she would tell me. Because that's a pretty private fan. Cashier never used to cut her. He would yank it with his teeth or with his nail. That's how he would, break the cigar into cut it. And all his cigars that he smoked from there were like that. So that was their signature. Any roller would go and see in any factory and see that, they'll go, oh, she worked at the Larito, because that was their signature. And she was great. She was, God has her in heaven now. And she was a beautiful lady. And then from there, that put us on the map. And then from there, Kyle came one day and asked us, look, we just got the account from Alina, and I was so scared that I wasn't going to be able to do. You can't take everybody when you first start because you don't have an idea. So then I said, Kyle, no, when you finish, you were going to finish college. When you finish, maybe you could come by and give me a chance because we just started with this one. So he came with this beautiful little humidor. And then he said, now we did something. Yes. So we did Nacovena, then Black Honey, also Don Ronaldo. We did an anniversary now for his dad. And he's amazing. The way he also blends. He goes in the room and he blends and puts the figures out. He takes it. I go, damn, where'd you get this? He goes, in there. I said, did you write it? He said, yeah, I wrote it. It was such a good blend. Yeah, everybody whoever has to come, even when the pandemic, Willie sometimes would send the material and he would have to run here because he gotta go to Nicaragua and Padilla too, and oh my God, everybody.
They make it a second home.
Yeah, they make it here. Sometimes we used to have like 13 and Sean. Oh, Sean.
They would sit here and blend in this little back table.
And
I can't get rid of that table.
Rid of that table.
They're like, no.
Big table. That's where Willie used to blend our cigars. I go, oh my God. So, this little factory, believe it or not, people come in and say, do you have more in the back? I said, no, we don't. The factory. We're so tiny. People cannot get over what we do to this space. Well, I don't even know what we do in this space, but we do it. God helps us, and we do it. And what's nice about it is people come in and they see. Now, if they see the pizza guys doing a pizza or the bakery, you're looking at it, and people like that. And we just kept on growing, and then when we'll do a date with Willie, Jonathan, that I, yeah, and then General also, it was supposed to be Chris Carr and Jason, Justin, and Sean. And when he said the Cohiba, they wanted me to do the Cohiba. That's like the ultimate, because that was Castro's blend. That's why it became so famous. I remember you used to say, everybody, Cohiba, Cohiba. I've been doing Cohiba since I was 18 years old. So we try to get the blend closest and Medellin, the closest we can get to the Cuban blend. And it was, so I said to Chris, okay, we're going to tonight too. Well, how do you want this? He says, no. You do whatever you want to do. I go, oh my God, they're letting me do whatever I want to do. I'm going to give it to them if you want. So you see, that's what I'm telling you. You work with men, but they still let us girls do what we want. So then I said, okay, I'm going to do the Little Vehicle band, which is one of their most expensive cigars, and I did a closed foot. Because years in when Cuba then wrote Walter Cruz and Irish and Guayaberas, they used to put it in new pockets, put it in pockets, and then the cigar would fall. So they used to have the rollers closed in foot. So the tobacco would fall in your Guayaberas. So, yeah.
Something. I was wondering, like, what was the purpose of the closed foot?
Purpose of that, and that's what it was, and that's what Maria was telling me all this stuff. I was like, getting this info, and then when Chris said that, I said, okay, Cohiba has a huge line, but I'm going to be different, because if you're going to compete with all them with the round hitting the same foot, it's not going to make a difference. So my Cohiba has always the stand, the little stand, and the closed foot. So, and mine doesn't have cellophane. You look smack at those 10 cigars. Mine do not have cellophane. So that made me, very happy. That's how we started. He asked me to do the Glory industry, which was really good. Then Cardigas, which was excellent. And it just kept on, growing and very successful. And then they wanted to distribute us, so then we said, yeah. And then now the new Redemption, which is really, that's just now, she is called now Master G. She, that is her new name. Instead of Giselle, Master G for Giselle, because Master Willie, now she's Master G. And she has a great palate, and that's the one they're distributing. And we have a lot of things coming out, a lot of good things coming out. But I have to like you. If I don't like you, I can't work with you. I have to have that vibe, like to be able to tell you.
To take on a new customer or a project, he has to feel something. It's not just,
I've turned down a lot of people. They said, you know who I am? I said, yeah, you know who I am. Not that I want to be anything important or anything, but it's very important for me to be able to put my input, in what we do with the boxing. Because remember, we do the cigars, but the finished product, we have to see how it looks, how it appeals.
She gets very
Yeah,
involved.
I get very involved from the ribbon to how it fits to the colors. I'm like very, very meticulous.
And then I'll be like
Picky.
pitching her, like, this is the customer, we have to do it.
No,
So
I
I'm making the cigar, so if I don't like it, we're not doing it.
yeah, I don't like the band or something. It's my cigar. I ain't on that crappy band. Get out of here. Wow. You don't
But you know what? I've heard that Ernesto Carrillo's the same way. So he gets involved, even if he's making a blend or a cigar for someone else. They told me stories where he's like, okay, now let's look at the band. Oh no, let's not do this. Let's look at the box. So I think that's the mark of, like, again, like when you're at your level, you're able to do that.
Ernie was right across the street for years, and Lestat was with her mom and her brother. And the thing nice about the cigar industry, it's all family. There's really not to me. There's no competition, because if you want to smoke one cigar in the morning and another at night, or whoever, we're not into that. We're like, it's a big family. Everybody's family. Ernie's family. Oh my God! Oh my Carlito, Padron, George now, and the Olivas with Daniel and Castro. Everybody's all Camacho too. We're all everybody. You see black names, yeah. Everybody's family, and everybody helps everybody. One time I needed chavetas, and I went across the street. I mean, I need chavetas. He goes, oh, but I don't have any. I said, no, it's Dominican. There is still. And then he said, don't worry about it. So I said, but you're not going to be able to get him to the airport. He said, don't worry about it. So like 3 weeks after, he came with 5 children. I said, how the hell did you do it? And the thing was, crossed over. He needs molds. Willie was with molds over to him. Or we needed something. It's a very close net. Just like right now, what happened to AJ? Everybody helped us. Everybody pitched in and helped. And that's a beautiful thing.
So when you set out to create a blend, like, what qualities are you looking forward to creating that cigar? Like, what reaction do you want the smoker to have? Like, what characteristics, what notes are you kind of aiming for?
We always like that first wow. As soon as we light it, it has to wow. Like, we're not, and I'm not the type to wait for the cigar to transition. It needs to capture me from the moment I do the cold draw, when I light it. Don't ask me, and this is a phone that Willie is always taking with me. He's like, but it'll change. Well, I don't want it to change. I want to fall in love from my first puff, and that will keep me going. I don't want to just wait. Oh, the second, third. Oh, the end. No, we need to wow from the moment we light up the cigar.
Yeah, we'll wow, girl. Wow, girl. The flavor, I like to feel to taste the flavor,
the richness. For it to be complex, a nice aroma. I tend to like creamy. I like for the cigars to leave, your palate clean. There are some cigars that leave it too heavy or too peppery, or if the cigar will make me spit, it's like, forget. No, because we don't want to be at a cigar shop like
Right.
So that's what we aim for. It's just for it to be that wow factor, and it could vary. And obviously, yes, she's very stuck in her ways, but she's come a long way. And now we do have to listen to the customer. What may wow us doesn't wow, our, whoever we're making the cigar for. So if it's not wowing them, we have to tweak it to how, what they want.
What they like. Yeah, it's just a customer.
Oh, yeah, dang, you're learning.
Yeah. Well, we're the wild ones. Everybody listens to us. They ask us if we like it. And generally, we never have a problem. Pretty good. So tiny.
Yeah,
You have to come down. We're so tiny.
I saw them go get the golf cart and take them around.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I definitely want to come down and see, because like I said, I like to see the factories. But every time I've spoken to you or heard you in an interview, you've always talked about how small it is. So I'm always, but the size doesn't seem to matter, because you seem to get a lot of great stuff to come out of the factory. So I guess, I was going to ask you, have you ever felt the pressure to like upgrade your space, or are you just like fine with like what space that you have?
Oh, no, we need space. And we're trying to see when the lease is up from the other store to go there. I can't go here. I can't. We've been here too many years.
She really can't stay here.
And I like to see everything. I don't like to have a warehouse, people making cigars. No. I have to see everything. I come in the morning, I say good morning, everybody. And I start opening doors and looking, and what are you doing? And what is this? What is that? No. I have to have
all hands on deck.
Yeah. Even if we have to come in on Sunday, I don't care. We get an account, work, and that's how.
But the goal is to expand.
Yes. I'll probably be 90 by then.
Wheelchair.
Love little 90. 60 every single day. And she would have her McDonald's breakfast, the whole thing. Hash browns, the sausage, biscuit, and her coffee every morning. 96 years
So
old.
now you know it's for the, what you have to look forward to.
Yeah. They were good parents, very good parents, very hardworking parents. And my dad 92, so, but always working. He was on his deathbed, and he was asking, how did we do today? And he's me, but how much? And I would make up another to make him happy. I go, I can't believe him. He's almost going. And I'm like, that's how, that's how it is here in business. And he would have been so proud of us making the Cohiba, making all these lines, from Cuba, just like the rollers. They're so happy and so proud because they're here, but they worked there and they made these brands, and they get very excited. They put all their effort and love into the cigar. You have to love it. They're artists. I'll tell you, you really have to love what you do. 8 hours, 7 hours, sit there and just blend, and then we do the draw testing machine on all the cigars, and it's a little bit over, then we give it back to them, and you take it apart, and you try to fix it. And yeah, it's a lot of work. People don't understand how much work is making a cigar.
Yeah, it's funny because I always think too that in the cigar industry, there's not enough attention on what happens in the factory part, so people don't always know, because I feel bad. Like if you smoke a cigar and you don't like it, it's easy to just say, "Oh, I don't like it," and just toss it away. But like a lot of work went into that cigar, so I don't think people know or have seen like the factory part. So it's like when you go and see how the factory operates and all the different people who are involved, it makes you have a bigger appreciation for this craft and this art, that form that cigar making is.
They're artists because from a bunch of leaves to put them together and get a flavor, get a burn, and get a draw. I mean, that takes a lot, and you have to know exactly how much and what, how they lay their leaves, the material. They know exactly where's one from. I wish they do have the work with the trees from, but they know exactly which one to do, how much to put in. And they smoke it, or we smoke it, or else we just sell, or me with the little the dog yell, the little ones do it, look at this, and chase, and it's exciting, it's beautiful because something makes something so beautiful, and it takes something, like the exciting part again.
The exciting part is really watching that end result, watching the Clippers really enjoy the process. That's like what's more for me, I think.
A few minutes ago, you were talking about redemption, and I know that that was like a big talking point at the trade show last year, with it kind of being distributed by General Cigar and your partnership with them. So, could you tell us a little bit more about redemption and what makes it so special?
So everybody, we have 5 core lines, which we're going to be expanding. I mean, I've been on board with full time from close to 8 years. I've always been behind the scenes, but full time been about 8 years. So, really first blend was the redemption line. We had sun-grown and there's a Mexican amount of drink. My grandfather had Ttian de Bronze, which is the Connecticut wrapper, and he did a Brazilian brand reserve. So when Willie gets hired by CE, everyone was like, "Oh my God, poor Sandy. Willie's gonna leave. That fish is gonna go out of business." And she goes, "Wait a second. I'm not gonna go out of business. I'm so happy he's going to CE because the end result is better for my daughter and it's better for my grandkids. I'm so happy that he's leaving, but I was here before Willie, and I'm gonna be here after Willie. So you know what? I'm gonna make my own cigar, which is my way, which is a dark Havana." So then the whole, partnership, comes to light, and they're like, "Okay, what cigar would you like to introduce yourself with?" Well, I don't want technical. I don't want, anything that really is. I don't want my way. I want to do something that I'm putting my stamp on. So we were fooling around with different blends, and I was like, I really like this. So I didn't say anything. I think the cigar is home. I have, a trusted panel, my husband being one of them, and he tried it and he goes, "What is this?" I'm like, "A chef never gives out the recipe." He's like, "This is really good." He's like, "It's really, really good." I'm like, "Really? Is it that good?" He said, "Yes, whatever it is, go with it." And this is where we come out with this spin on the sun-grown redemption. So now everybody in the family has their own cigar. We all have our own.
And I know too, last year, obviously, when I met Sandy for the first time, it was at the General Cigar booth, and as I told John, I was like, you were holding court, like you had your area of the booth. People were coming up to you, seeing everyone knows you. Carlito Fuente, everyone, retailers, everybody wanted a moment with you. So it was great to be able to sit down and hear all your stories that you were telling at that time. So what is I think people still want to know, like, what is the partnership that you have going with like General Cigar? Like, what does that involve? Like, is it just the distribution? Is it, obviously, I mean, you're making some different lines for them. It's, it seems like a creative partnership.
It's distribution, and we obviously do special projects. We do, special launches of, Cohiba being one of them. Every year we do a limited quantity. And then with Ttian, it's just distribution. So we'll be rolling out different cigars because, yes, we've been in the industry 30 years, but primarily everyone knows us as a private, a white label maker. We make private, brands, private label for different companies. So we're trying to get people to know who we are as, for cigars, just not making private labels for XYZ companies. So that's what they're helping us do.
Yeah. Yeah, but we're good. We get along great. We get along like a family with them. They're super nice. Regis, Bill, Chris, all of them now. They're great with us, and
So they're helping our brand, with, obviously they're huge. So obviously they have a bigger reach than we would. We've never had a sales force. We've never, and no advertising. There's no budget for that.
Right.
So this partnership was like heaven sent. It really was. And all those years are paying off slowly. And we're excited about everything that's in the pipeline.
It's surprising that you say, like, after 30 years, there's still people who don't know you or your story. Because I would think people would, that would be the first thing. Like whenever someone says your factory's name, that, I'm always, that little light bulb goes off for me. So I always assume other people are the same way, like they would know.
so they know La Farina, they'll know.
Don't know that we make cigars, but they're clueless that we have our own brands, we've had our brands. But slowly we're becoming popular.
I think you are popular. I think you're popular. Is this
Yeah, that's what everybody says. I don't know anybody, and they say everybody knows you. No, but we work with everyone, and it's a pleasure for us, and it's exciting when they come out with they want us to for these blends. Sometimes I say, "Ew, oh, that's horrible! How can you? What did you put in that?" So we're that close to them that we could talk like that.
That's always good. They need to hear that sometimes.
Yes, anybody or say, yeah, it's good. No, it's not good. It's not good. It's us, our names. They might not know us, but it's our names. I don't care. And, it's our reputation. And that means a lot to us. Plus, like you said, being in a man's world, and we're the only Wawas here. Wawa girls. We better do it good. And so far, we've been very successful. Thank God, because 30 years is a long time. And my dad never wanted to go overseas. I probably would have been a millionaire by now if I would have went overseas. But he said, no, we came here, we stayed here. But, Ernie used to tell me, why don't you come to the Dominican? It's so, much less, and you do so good, but not. We never wanted to go, and it got out.
So we're expanding.
We're expanding. But, we always wanted to stay in his same spot. But it's exciting. It's a beautiful industry, and you get a lot of nice people. People come in from all over to see us. And they see us on Instagram or on a website or for blogs now like you also have us. And it's exciting for us. Yeah, and we notice. Everybody likes to be noticed, one way or the other. And at least we're noticed for the good stuff. So it's good. I'm happy. I'm happy for everyone. I'm happy for the rollers. I've been doing it for so many years. And I've had rollers for 15 years, 12 years. They're very loyal to us. And everyone. It's a happy industry. Don't you think it's a happy industry? It is a happy industry. No, it is. You go to all these events, everybody's drinking and smoking, everybody's having a good time. Years ago, I remember I was a kid. I'm originally from Jersey, We came from Havana, New Jersey, and the local bars on each corner, there was a bar, right? A local bar. And I remember my best friend Gail, Mr. Marsh from work, used to go to the bar, play pool, have a beer, and talk to his friends. And the wife would say, "Go get your dad." So we would stand at the door and go, "Mr. Marsh." And nowadays, you don't see those local bars anymore. Now it's the lounges that are where people hang out and relax and talk, and it's nice. You know, it's nice. It's changed, but everybody needs to escape a little, and that's good. Have those beautiful lounges, and people could, you know, take their cigars or get their cigars, and I think the cigar industry is going to keep on going. The cigar industry has been for years and years. It's not going to die. Even if it goes up or down or whatever, people are still going to smoke because it's an industry that's been pushed.
The smokers are getting younger.
Yeah.
Before it was like more of the older generation, but now we have, you know, college kids, you know, really getting into it. I get so many students from FIU and UM, you know, we're having a party. When would you ever hear, like, a frat party having cigars? Like,
I know.
you know, a keg of beer, you know, let's get wild. I get them here all the time. You know, can we learn how to roll? Can you teach us how to light it the right way, cut it? So it's definitely, it's changed.
Yeah, or else they come in a tour and they go, "Oh, this smell reminds me of my Uncle Joe,
Or my grandpa.
or my dad when he used to smoke cigars. It's nostalgic. It's something nice that it brings back good memories. A lot of people that come here. And
So,
they come with little kids in a stroller, now they're 30 years old, now they're grown adults.
so as we kind of wind down this part of the interview, I like to ask each guest like the same kind of questions to kind of round out the interview. The first of those questions is, do you have a philosophy that you live or work by?
Love what you do. Live life to the fullest.
And do everything with passion.
Do everything with
If you don't have passion, you're not gonna be successful. And I think her main drive has been her passion. So I would say it's love what you do and do it with all the passion you have.
love. Love everything we do. Love everything. It attracts.
It's like, that's the vibe that she will always give off. You know, it's a good energy.
That's what everybody says.
Yeah, you know, Mom, you do have a good energy. You do. You're like cheering. You get so excited.
Yeah, truly. They say I glow. I said, yeah, I wish I glow. I used to glow. My age, you don't glow, but I still have the passion.
The last question for this part of the interview is, I want you to finish this sentence. Sandy Cobas is.
Sandy Cobas is a wonderful person. I love what she does. From the heart. That's what counts.
Well, great. Well, I want people to, there are some people who are just going to be listening to this so they don't see the banner that we've had up all show. So do you want to tell people what website they need to follow, what Instagram, social media to keep up with Ttian de Bronze?
Yeah. So our website is Ttian de Bronze.com. Our Instagram is is Ttian de Bronze. And then our new redemption is at ETEB Redemption. That's solely just on the new cigars that's being distributed by General.
Great. And when is your, like, you're telling people they can come visit the factory, see the factory. When are the hours? What do we need to know about that part?
10 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Yes, they can come visit if you have friends or you're going on a cruise or you're stopping by Miami, you're more than welcome to come in.
We don't offer tours.
No, we don't even need to.
Right, and then 9 times out of 10, when you walk through the door, there's boxes everywhere or bales of tobacco. Like right now, there's 50 bales of tobacco that just landed from the Dominicans. But everyone's welcome, to come. And usually they will come back, and they come back with their kids, or if they came, a few years back to get cigars for their bachelor party, they'll come back, with their babies, and, we want everyone to feel always welcome.
Feel like we're very simple, very simple.
If we're eating lunch, do you want the lunch?
I love those Cuban steak sandwiches across the street. Everybody comes and says, "Are you going to get us a Cuban steak sandwich?" So when you come, we'll get you a Cuban steak sandwich. They're really good.
I look forward to it. So you two sit tight because we're going to film 2 other things before we're completely done for today. But I want people who are listening to this part of the interview to thank you for listening and watching. And if you want to see more of this interview, go to youtube.com/deepcutslive. Hit the follow button, leave a comment, leave a review wherever you are. We always like to read those reviews. And like I said, we're going to film a couple more things, so you can look for some bonus content from this episode up on the YouTube channel, probably when this episode is going live. So thank you for watching, and until next time.